If you're researching what it's actually like to live in Tampa, not just visit, you're probably finding a lot of tourist content, beaches, theme parks, maybe some downtown shots. But here's what nobody's telling you. The things that make people stay in Tampa almost have nothing to do with what brings them here in the first place. I've worked with numerous families relocating to the Tampa Bay, and there's this pattern I see over and over. People move here thinking they know what Tampa is, and then 6 months in, they realize they had no idea, but it's in a good way. So today I'm walking you through 10 things that locals genuinely love about living here. Things you won't find in a travel guide, but things you'll absolutely want to know if you're considering making Tampa home. Let me start with something that caught me off guard and catches almost everyone off guard. Tampa is really big, really spread out. There's this joke that us locals say, and it's that it takes an hour to get from Tampa to Tampa. And honestly, that's true. You could live in South Tampa and need 45 minutes to reach Wesley Chapel. Live in Riverview, and that quick trip to Clearwater becomes a legitimate hour road trip. This is something I talk through with every relocating client because if you're coming from a more compact city, it changes how you think about where to live. But here's the upside. Once you're here, you stop thinking of Tampa as one place and you start thinking in neighborhoods. Hyde Park, Seminole Heights, West Chase, Carrollwood, New Tampa. Each one has its own personality, its own restaurants, its own parks, and community feel. And because everything is spread out, you also get space, bigger lots, less congestion in some areas. You're not living on top of each other. There's room to breathe. So, yes, Tampa's big, but that also means there's a neighborhood that fits just about everyone. For years, I mean years, Tampa didn't really have a downtown in the way that most cities do. It was more of a business district that emptied out after 5 o'clock. That has completely changed. Now you've got Water Street, which is massive mixed use development with restaurants, green space, and actual residents living downtown. You've got Sparkman Wharf. This is a laid back waterfront spot with shipping container food vendors, live music, and lawn games. This is where a lot of locals actually love to hang out. Then there's Midtown, a newer area, quietly growing into this walkable urban neighborhood with indie coffee shops and local restaurants. And Ybor City, which has always had its own historic, gritty character. What I love and what relocating clients are often surprised by is that these areas are starting to connect. You can take free trolley between Ybor and Channelside and downtown. You can rock walk and experience multiple neighborhoods in one afternoon. This isn't New York, it's not Miami, but if you want a more urban lifestyle in Tampa, that option actually exists now. Everyone knows about the beaches, Clearwater, St. Pete Beach. They're gorgeous, and they are a big part of why most people move here, myself included. But locals, we're equally excited about the parks, and I mean the real parks, the ones you actually use weekly, not just when you have visitors in town. For example, Honeymoon Island. Yes, it's technically a beach, but it's a state park with hiking trails. There's a nature center, a playground, and way less crowding than the main tourist beaches. It feels wild and peaceful at the same time. Then there's Upper Tampa Bay Park, another state park, which is kind of a hidden gem. It has a boardwalk, there's trails through the nature park. They have a nature center as well, a fishing pier, and there's a brand new playground going in there. This is the kind of place you go on a Saturday morning and you feel like you have the whole place to yourself. And if you have kids, especially kids with different abilities or needs, which is an important thing to my family, Tampa has some really thoughtful parks, fenced playgrounds, adaptive equipment, shaded areas. Julian V. Lane Park downtown has a huge splash pad right on Riverwalk. You can grab a drink and play there. Lettuce Lake has boardwalks where you can see gators and turtles up close. The outdoor lifestyle here, it just isn't beach life. It's having year-round access to nature without driving hours to find it. The Tampa Riverwalk is 2.5 miles of waterfront path connecting parks, museums, restaurants, and neighborhoods. And it's not a tourist attraction. It's infrastructure that locals use constantly. You'll see people commuting on water taxis, runners doing their morning loops, families riding bikes, people meeting friends for coffee and walking the path. It's become the central spine that ties the city together and it keeps expanding. New sections open, new parks connect to it, new restaurants and cafes, and it makes it all more accessible. This is one of those things I always point out when I'm showing clients downtown or the Tampa Heights area. The Riverwalk isn't something you visit once. If you live here or anywhere near it, you'll be using it. You'll be using it a lot, I think. It makes Tampa feel more connected, more walkable, and honestly more livable than it used to. One of the biggest lifestyle shifts people experience when they move to Tampa is this. You can do things outside in January and February and November. You want to go kayak in December? Go ahead. Fish off a pier in the middle of winter? Absolutely. Play pickleball in March? Everyone's doing it. The outdoor culture here is constant. You're not waiting for summer. You're not stuck inside half the year. You just go. Inshore fishing, one of my favorites, is huge here. You can catch redfish, snook, trout. You have beach fishing, pier fishing, kayak fishing. There's trails for hiking and biking all over Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco counties. And if pickleball is your thing, which is practically a movement here, pretty much every park and neighborhood is adding courts. This is something relocating families underestimate how much it changes your daily life when you can be outside almost every single day of the year. You end up doing more, you're more active, your weekends look completely different, and you feel better. If being outdoors matters to you, Tampa delivers on that in every way, and very few places can compete with what Tampa has to offer. Let's talk the food scene. Tampa's food scene used to fly completely under the radar, but that's changed. We now have Michelin recognized restaurants, James Beard nominees, a dining culture that's getting national attention. But honestly, and this is what locals will tell you, some of the best food is still at the little Cuban spot in West Tampa that's been there for 30 years, or the Thai restaurant in a strip mall that has a line out the door on the weekends. You've got Seminole Heights, which has become this incredible food neighborhood full of chef driven restaurants, craft cocktail bars, and brunch spots with permanent waits. You've got Armature Works in Tampa Heights, a massive food hall with local vendors and river views. And it's not just trendy stuff. You can get authentic Cuban sandwich, fresh Gulf seafood, barbecue, great tacos. The food scene reflects what Tampa is becoming: diverse, creative, and way more interesting than most people expect. And this matters more than you think when you're relocating. Good food equals good quality of life. Nightlife is more of a lifestyle than a scene here. When people think Tampa nightlife, they usually think Ybor clubs or Soho bars on a Friday night. And sure, that still exists, but that's not really how most locals experience nightlife here, especially the people relocating in their 40s, 50s, or beyond. For most people, it's casual and social. It's grabbing a beer at a brewery in Seminole Heights. It's live music on a patio in Hyde Park. It's hanging out at Sparkman Wharf with a drink and cornhole while the sun sets. It's not intense and you're not getting dressed up and waiting in line. You're just meeting people, being outside, enjoying the weather. There are also tons of community events, movies in the park, farmers markets every weekend, seasonal festivals, and outdoor concerts. That's where you actually start to see familiar faces and feel like you're part of a community. Tampa's nightlife isn't about the scene, it's about the lifestyle. And that's exactly what most relocating families are looking for. All right. This one surprised me when I first moved here, but there are a lot of you pick farms all around the Tampa Bay area. Strawberries in the winter, blueberries in the spring. Families drive out on the weekends, pick their own fruit, let the kids run around. It's one of those things that makes Tampa feel less like a sprawling metro and more like a place where you can still have those small town moments. Same with farmers markets. Almost every neighborhood has one, and they're not just about produce, they're social. You run into people you know, you grab a coffee, walk around, check out the local vendors. It becomes a part of your weekend rhythm. These might sound small, like small things, but they add up. They're part of what makes Tampa feel like home instead of just a place you move to. Here's a pattern I see constantly. People move to Tampa thinking it's temporary, maybe a few years for work or maybe to test out Florida life. And then 10 years later, they're still here, myself included. Why? Because the lifestyle just works. You've got beaches 20 minutes away, outdoor activities year round, good food, strong job growth, and depending on where you land, really solid schools. But I think the real reason people stay is balance. You can build a career here without the relentless grind of a bigger city. You can raise a family without feeling like you're sacrificing your quality of life. You can go to the beach on a Wednesday evening just because you feel like it. Tampa's not perfect. No place is, but it gives people a life they actually enjoy living. And once you've had that for a while, it's really hard to picture yourself anywhere else. I know when I moved here from Minnesota, I did not plan on staying here long term, but here I am 20 some years later, still loving the Tampa lifestyle. At the end of the day, Tampa isn't just about where you live, it's about how you get to live. You get sunshine, you get water access, you get space and options. Whether you want urban energy or suburban calm, tight knit community, or the freedom to explore, you get to be outside in February. You get to have a social life that doesn't require a weekend plan made 3 weeks in advance, and you get proximity to the beach without living in a pure tourist town. And once you've lived that for a while, once your weekends look completely different, once you're more active, once you've found your neighborhood and your people, it's really hard to go back. That's why I see with the families I work with, they come here curious, maybe a little nervous, and a year later, they can't imagine being anywhere else. So, those are 10 things that locals genuinely love about Tampa. Things you may not experience as a visitor, but things that completely shape your life once you move here. If you're watching this because you're seriously considering relocating to the Tampa Bay area, I'm Tammy Bilder with the Builder Group of eXp Realty. And I know how overwhelming this decision could feel, especially if you're moving from out of state. I've done it myself. So if you have questions about neighborhoods, counties, the buying process, new construction, insurance, anything, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to talk it through with you, even if you're still 6 months or a year out. And if you're already here or just enjoying these videos, drop me a comment and let me know what areas of or neighborhoods you want me to talk about next. I'm always looking for ideas from people who are actually researching this stuff. Thanks for watching Tammy Tours Tampa Bay, and I can't wait to help you find your next home.